Hey guys, good morning. It's Dave Santarelli from BreakingChartAlerts.com and Santarelli Trading Exchange. So yesterday, you guys that are with us on YouTube, you guys remember we made another trade on Apple. We locked in some profits on Apple. We ended up getting into another shorter term trade on Apple, targeting that 145 resistance. As you can see here, here's an Apple daily chart that's pulled up here. We got another nice breakout here. Candle above previous candle's body. We're at the highs here. We should have a really nice gain on this Apple trade. I'm thinking anywhere between 30 and 60% today. If we hit that 145 today, guys, we're probably going to be looking at about 120% return on that Apple trade. So it's about patience and discipline today. You know, let's see how Apple goes. We got a few minutes, about 4 minutes until opening bell here. You know, always have those orders ready, though, because if you start seeing that sell-off, a little bit of a pullback there, you know, it can happen really quick. So always have that order ready. You know, like for me, I just go up here and I click on sell to close, and it brings it right up there ready for me to close if I wanted to sell it. So what I do is I usually just get that order entry here, and I just put that on my other screen. You know, that way it's there in case I want to get to it quick. But Apple's looking good. Like I said, we should easily target that 145. Now, we have another nicer, bigger trade on TLT. The 20-year T-bond. 20-year T-bond's getting another nice pop here. That was above 148 just about 20 minutes ago. Remember how choppy this thing was yesterday. So I'm just holding on to that. We have that August 20th 150 strike call there. You know, so we should see some big green on that today as well there. So I'm going to be watching that there and seeing what's going on with that. Apple's still climbing here in the pre-market. Take a look at Apple. Apple's still hitting new highs there. 143.50 up 1.1% now. Here's another one that's nicely taken off. We've been watching Square. There goes Square right up to that 250 though. Notice how 250 is that resistance for the past about week and a half here on Square. So you really want to wait to make that swing trade on Square until you can break above that resistance at 250, because if it struggles at that 250 for a few days and then starts that pullback and you get into those calls today, obviously that's going to be, you know, your theta is going to eat away at that option premium, which is going to cause that to decay, that obviously go down in price. And then also if you have that short little pullback there, that's going to pull back that price too. So if you get a short-term trade on Square before it breaks above that resistance, it's a no-go there. So wait for that. There goes Apple, still climbing. Let's see what else is taking off here. Let me get on my iMac here. Get the trade challenge account pulled up on here. Let's see. About a minute until opening bell here, guys. Let's take a look at Apple. I want to see what our gains are going to be on this Apple trade here on the open. Good morning, Randy. Let's see. Oh, when I did that, it took everything away there. There we go.
CTXR, City is Pharmaceuticals, 8K filing out company.
Sam, I gotta mute you there.
21 business update.
All right, here comes Apple. Opening bell is coming up.
Minor lock NDA submission plan for 2022. City says financial flexibility.
All right, there we go, guys. We got a $3,000 open here on the day. Where is my?
First half of 2021. That's probably time for extra on the.
There we go. We got a nice gain on that Apple trade there. There's that Apple trade up 820 bucks today. Nice profit on that, guys. You know what? It expires this week. I'm going to close that baby out and lock in those profits there. Let's see if I could get 164. We closed it out, guys. We closed out Apple at $1.60. Let me see order status. Let me just check, make sure that was the price. $1.64 we got filled at. Guys, we got filled at $1.64 on Apple. 1.64. Let me see where my
Regulatory approval to open clinical study of ATH201 in Australia. That's ATOS. NASDAQ Composite Index hitting a record
there we
high.
go, guys. $1.64. We're out of that Apple trade, Efren.
For the open. Dow.
Nice job. That's a nice one. And you know what? That TLT trade's up $1,200 right now. So let me just get this saved here. Let me get this posted in the trade room here. Let me see where the hell I put it.
Dow Jones Industrial Ops down 24 after the open.
Out at $1.64 on that. Let me see.
JKS Jinko Solar shares spiking here.
And I think I'm at that time of the month where I got to take these contacts out, and I cannot even see that screen at the end there.
Now on JKS.
I usually leave my contacts in for about 2 or 3 months before I take them out. All right, let's see here. Here it comes. Look at that pullback on Apple, too. That was a hell of a nice call there. There we go. There is Apple closed $1.64. And I just posted that in the trade room there for you guys. All right, on to the next one. Let's see. What do we want to do here? TLT. Do I want to get rid of TLT or do I want to hold on to TLT? I'm going to close out TLT, I think. Let's see. What's it doing here? She's pulling back. You know, we're just about even on that trade. I'm just going to close that out. I know I still have plenty of time. It still looks good. But I want to see if I could get $1.80 for it. Let's see. E-Trade is super slow today. Generating order preview. It shouldn't take 30 seconds here to generate an order preview. Do I want to close that or should I just cancel it? It's too late. It already closed. All right, we are out at $1.75 on TLT. Out of TLT at $1.75 out of our second TLT trade. Get that, post that in the trade room. Okay, let's take a look here. TLT getting a climb. I just posted that. 934. Excuse me. Second TLT trade closed. Thank you, Skyjack.
BSGM, Bravo Sandy Golf Michael, BioSig enters New York market with its signal processing
I am
technology
so
for
close to here to more new all-time highs in the account here. So now I'm going to be thinking about what do I want to do to transition into this nice next cycle and phase here. I'm looking at the charts here, seeing what's taking off. We got Square over here taking off really nicely. Square's at 250, 247 right now. I need to keep an eye on that. Baidu, we're up a couple $100 on today after being down on that one yesterday. TLT on the climb again. Did you guys lock in those Apple profits? What percent gain did we lock in on Apple? Does anyone know? What was our entry price? Let's see, Express is starting to move here. I think I was in for what, $1.14? What did we close that out for? 58% gain, says Efren. That was a nice one. 58% gain on that Apple trade from yesterday. How many of you guys locked in that 58% gain? Nice, James. That's great. Remember now yesterday, this is what I want to talk to you guys about as we're going along here. Remember yesterday that, Apple, we got into that trade. We were quickly up, 30% on that trade? And then we pulled back. There was a time we were down 50% on that trade because it expires this week. When you have those shorter term expos, that's when you're going to see those bigger moves there, okay? So the shorter term expos, it's going to be normal to see a 50% move in a day or more. Usually it has about 100% move from the highs and the lows. So you have to mentally prepare yourself for that, okay? I mean, this game, this trading, career, it's all about your mental, like if you're mentally prepared and understand what to expect throughout the trade, then you're going to be prepared enough to know, okay, this is a normal move. It's normal volatility. Yesterday, that Apple trade, we were up 30% and then down 50%. That's an 80% difference from the highs to the lows there. So when you got that 80% difference from the highs to the lows, you have to understand, okay, first off, is it following your trade plan? Secondly, are you watching tick by tick or are you watching at that end of the day candle? And if you saw that end of the day candle on Apple, it still looked great. So it was really great trade there. Eddie says, Dave, what do you think about getting some longer term calls on Apple? If we look at Apple here on a 6-month daily, here's what I'm worried about. So right now, if we just let's get rid of the simple moving averages for a minute, because I want you guys to look at this without that. Okay, so if I get rid of these,
President Trump plans to announce class action lawsuits Wednesday against Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey.
oh, do you guys hear that? Trump is filing a class action against Facebook and Jack Dorsey, Twitter. Big news there. But guys, take a look at that big run here, right? So usually when you see a big straight up run like that, what usually happens? Like we saw back here, you had that big run and then it pulls back a bit. So for me, here's what you got to be thinking about. Look at what you got coming up here. You have that resistance coming up from right here. This is some resistance. and that's going out to that 145. So if we haven't broken that 145 yet, Eddie, I don't know if it's going to get up to that 145 and then have that sharp pullback like it did here, or if it's going to get up to resistance and have that sharp pullback like it did here. So when you're nearing that resistance area, the best thing to do is wait for that retracement, back down to some type of support level. Either it's going to be that 140 or 135, and then once you get that confirmed bounce off support, then make that longer term trade on Apple. That's what I'd be personally waiting for, because if you get in right now, obviously you're going to be taking a chance at that getting up to that resistance and failing there. But I do like the tech sector going forward. Definitely. You just want to find that optimal entry there on Apple. Let's see here. I'm looking at the Zoom chat here. Tony says Baidu's picking up in the pre-market. Baidu was looking good in the pre-market. They're pulling back a little bit. I'm glad we got out of that Airbnb yesterday. That's continuing to pull back. Do you see what I mean about that? When you get that candle below the previous candle's body, it looks like it's going to be coming back down to support around 145. So I'd much rather have taken that little loss there than a complete loss. 58% gain on Apple. Sergi, thank you, buddy. Doing great. Thank you. Sergi said he averaged down on Apple to 89 cents yesterday. That's a nice gain there. Eddie locked in the Apple trade. Sergi, I have a few SPY calls 3 days out, holding or lock in profit. Let's take a look at SPY. It's struggling the past 3 days to really break out there. Might get up to 435, but if he's in that, I don't know how long you've been in that for, but me personally, I'd probably be locking in profits until you get that next big move in the market, which when that happens, you're going to see the market go up, pretty high. We could see the Dow have a 300, 400, 500 point move on that next breakout. And that might be coming tomorrow. We got the unemployment numbers tomorrow, guys. So that could be that next catalyst for that big move. You mentally prepare yourself for that. Always be asking yourself, what are those catalysts in the market that could propel us higher there? Tomorrow it's the unemployment numbers. So if we get low unemployment numbers and lowered continued claims, market's going to take off there. There's no question about it. There goes Apple again. Apple's at more new highs of the day. Near 144 on Apple. What did we have? What did we close out? The 143s? Close that out for $1.75. They're at $1.81 now. Now, see, that's something I wouldn't mind picking up now, using more of those profits, picking up next week's 144 or 145 call. First, what I want to do is take a look and see when Apple earnings are. Seems like we do this every day, but I want to get you guys in the habit of doing it. So Apple earnings are the 28th. I think they're going to have a freaking killer quarter. I'm going to pick up the 30th Expo now on Apple. I wouldn't mind picking up July 30th Expo going into earnings. He's pulling back heavily right there on that candle. But let's take a look here. 144 calls are going for, about 410.
$353.88 on Facebook.
What's going on with Facebook there? Is that pulling back those shares? They're pulling back heavily on that announcement from Trump. That's breaking news, Efren, there.
$10.
Trump filing a lawsuit against Facebook and Twitter. Let's see. Aaron Ricardo says, I got those Apple calls at 88 cents right before the close yesterday. Nice job, Aaron. Did you close it out this morning? Let's see. Who's that? Andrew Lambert said I was short on AMC. Bought puts yesterday at 55. What's AMC at now? Let's see. Nice, 46 bucks. What'd you pay for those 55 strike puts there, Andrew? No, I could see 45 strike puts. Let's see, or 55 strike puts. I don't know what expo you got though. Let's just say it was this week's expo. If he got those 55 strike puts, they're now worth $9.23. They increased in value by $2.89 or $289 a contract. Nice job there, Andrew. Let's see. Aaron says he closed out his Apple trade for $1.64. $1.64, divide that by 0.88. His entry, he closed that out for an 86.36% return. Nice job, Aaron. Is that your second Apple trade, or was that your first Apple trade? Apple's still on the climb there, guys. Apple is still going. Apple's near 145. Now, so let's get our studies back on here. 50-day, $10-day yellow, and 20-day is going to be our aqua blue. There we go. Life looks back to normal now. Alrighty, Apple 144.22. There she goes, still taking off, guys. I think I want to do that trade on Apple. Let's take a look. 6 month down. Man, that's so tough to get into that after that big freaking run there. But I mean, you know, just about all tech is taking off. Microsoft got up to that 280 and started pulling back. I think you're going to see that Apple get up to that 145 and then pull back. So as much as I want to jump in Apple right now, you know, I definitely got to, I definitely just got to be disciplined here and patient and wait for the optimal entry point on Apple. You know, yes, I could make some quick money right now, even if I wanted to do a quick day trade on it, which if you guys want to do a day trade, you know, feel free to do it. You know, a day trade wouldn't be a bad idea there, but right now, you know, we just closed out a few nice Apple trades there, so I'm not gonna screw with that. Our JP Morgan trades in the green today. Let's see what that one's doing. I don't know how that's in the green there. There we go. She's up 14 cents. Oh, that's taking off now. If that starts to climb there, if JP Morgan starts to break out, if she breaks that 155, I'm probably going to put another 10 grand in it. Apple is still on the climb here, guys. Anyone doing any Apple day trades? Now's your time to do some quick Apple day trades. She's still in breakout momentum. Notice how since opening bell had that big pop when that's right when we locked in our Apple trade right here around 143.70. You know, it had that pullback there, which was nice. And then when we saw this candle right here, that confirmed bounce off support and breaking through this resistance, let me draw this up for you guys because this is going to make great sense here. So you saw how you had that pullback right back down to support right here at that 10-day simple moving average, right? This acted as support. Now what happened? She started to gradually get that climb, still holding above that 10. And then what happened? It consolidated for 4 candles here, 4 minutes, right? So during that consolidation here, what you're saying, if you're looking for a day trade, So that's consolidation. That's also known as the NTZ with our trade plan. But once you get a break above that resistance, that's your confirmed entry. So right here, that's your entry for a day trade. And then your candle below that 10-day simple moving average like this, that would be your stop. So it's a really nice day trade here still to go with Apple here. Still in breakout momentum. It's using that 10-day simple moving average as support. It looks good there, and that's what you could be looking at for a day trade on Apple. So for me, I know what I want to do. You know, if I wanted a day trade, I could jump in Apple right now. But my main goal here is to look for some good swing trades to get into for next week's Expo. Square's up another freaking 2% today. PayPal's finally starting its move. PayPal was a laggard yesterday behind the payment processors. So let's take a look at PayPal, see what that's doing on a 6-month daily. It's just starting to break out again. It broke through that resistance. I think PayPal is going to continue to climb. Let's take a look at the calendar and see when the heck PayPal has earnings here. PYPL. Earnings on July 28th. This is what I mean, guys. We got big earnings season coming up. End of July, beginning of August. So you got to be mentally prepared and say, okay, if we do have great earnings on tech, we're going to continue that climb on tech. If we see that we're failing to beat that lowered expected earnings, because remember during COVID, they dropped their earnings expectations for the rest of 2021. So if they fail to, break those lower standards, you're going to see a pullback in tech. But if we break through that and have a big breakout, which I think we're going to, because we all see the economy is booming, better than expected, higher travel demand, consumer spending is up, So when you see all these economic events that are trickling in every week that we're watching on a daily basis, you could already be mentally prepared. Okay, well, it looks like we're probably going to have a pretty good earnings quarter, going into Q2 here. So that's what you got to be telling yourself. And, that's why I'm still bullish on tech. So PayPal earnings, we got a lot of stuff that's coming up this week here. I mean, I think this is probably going to be our Super Bowl earnings week. It's either going to be the 19th to the 23rd or the 26th to the 30th. I think Ephraim's making those earning calendars now that are coming up. But that's going to be we could find some good piggyback trades. We made some hell of a great piggyback trades on some of those earnings last time. So we'll be looking at that again. All right, we got 85,000 cash on the sidelines now because we didn't enter into any new trades yet. So you guys see how I'm stockpiling cash on the sidelines here now as we're locking in some gains, closing out some trades there, and that's what we're looking at. And then we're going to be able to decide and decipher if we want to get into some more calls on tech or if we want to transition into a different sector here. Let's see what's moving on my other watch list over here on the iMac. Still holding that 10. Notice how it came down to that 10 again on Apple like we were just talking about. Now she's starting that climb. Now if she breaks that 144.50, you could easily be targeting that 145 today. I'm watching Microsoft over there. I might be doing a Microsoft trade soon.
SNDL Sundial Growers shares dropping here to the lows 86 cents.
There goes Apple taking off again. I'm watching Facebook right above here on the chart above. Facebook's finally starting to get a climb on it today. 1 minute chart breaking above that 10 and 50-day simple moving average on it today. 1 minute. Let me see. Where is Deanna? Is Deanna with us today? I know she was in a couple of those Apple trades. I want to see how she's doing there. Apple's still climbing, looking good. Not sure if Deanna's with us today. Let's see, anything going on over here? Newegg. AMD, let's see what the heck this one's doing. See, remember how I told you guys 95 was going to be resistance? Remember way back when we got in those first AMD trades, I said, guys, that 95 is going to be resistance, right? We were talking about that. There's an area of consolidation, an area of resistance going back. Notice how for the past 3 days, it's been getting up to that 95, pulling back a bit. Up to that 95, pulling back. You know, up to that 95 and pulling back. It's failing to break above that 95, which is resistance. That's why I tell you guys, that is an area of theta. Theta is going to eat away at that option premium. When you're trading side by side there, every single day that option is going to decay in value. Theta is going to eat away at that premium. You know, so that's why it's really important to understand those support and resistance areas so you could get in an optimal time. If you get in before it breaks that resistance, you know, like I said, you can have a week of consolidation. And if you have theta at, let's say, 11 cents per day, you know, and you consolidate for 2 weeks, you know, I mean, what is that? Let's say 14 times 0.11, that's $1.54, $154 in decay per contract. So if you have 10 contracts, you're down $1,540 on that trade just for it being at the same price when you got into the trade. So if you got into that trade on AMD at $95 and, you know, 2 weeks later it's still at $95, you know, and you paid $3 a contract, now it's down $1.54, you're down over 50% on that trade. You know, so that's, you know, you got to understand the whole process here of, you know, the Greeks, which is, you know, your delta, your theta. That's the two most important ones I want you guys to be paying attention to. But theta, you got to remember that, because when you get up to that resistance, that should be number one on your mind. If I enter into a trade right now, a call or a put, whatever it is you're looking at, and if it fails and it just consolidates at that resistance, you know, theta is going to eat away at that option premium, and you're going to see your trade go down in value significantly. That's why you got to wait for that breakout or that breakdown off those support and resistance areas.
Expecting 9.388 million.
Square is having a hell of a day here. 250, 340 now.
$9.209 million on Jones job openings. That's versus the 9.388 million estimate. WYNN, Whiskey Yankee, November. WinBet and Colorado Rockies announced multi-year partnership agreement. That's WYNN. IZEA, India Zulu Echo Alpha, IZEA. Managed services bookings reaching 187% growth in Q2 to hit all-time record of $11.1 million. That's IZEA. IZEA.
Apple pulling back a little bit from the highs. That's why we're just waiting. I'm watching the Dow. I'm watching NASDAQ continuing to pull back a little bit here. So, you know, you don't be aggressive in the markets during this time frame. Just watch. Man, that TLT is still taking off there. We would have had some really big profits there if we held on to that TLT trade a little bit longer. Wow. Let's see. Captain Thomas said he sold his TLT for a $247 profit. Nice job, Captain. Skyjack, he's up 120% on the Apple calls. Nice job. Nice freaking job. Let's see. Captain Thomas said he's out of the Apple trend. Let me see. I can't see that over there.
Pulling under $2 now, and a high in the free market of $2.64. That's DART Delta.
58% gain. A lot of people got that. Stu says, I just saw this comment here. Would you consider playing puts on the BDM? Absolutely, Stu. You know, I tell people, you know, when I come into my trade room every morning, I don't give a damn what the markets are doing. I don't, you know, I really don't even care. You know, the news is important, but what I'm looking at is that trade plan. And if I see a clear breakdown, you know what they say, up like a feather, down like a rock. So when you get that true BDM, those puts can make a ton of more money than the calls make on the upside really quick. You know, that's when you could be looking at those 300, 500% gains on the puts when you're near the highs. Because think about it, everyone's buying calls there. So when you get that early crossover and you start to see that MACD cross, you know, and you're able to see that before it drops below that 10, 20, 50-day simple moving average, you know, that's still where the stock is near the top there. But the fundamentals, well, the technicals, I should say, are changing. So when those technicals are changing there and you start to get into those puts, and then all of a sudden over the next week she has that big drop there, you know, the IV, the implied volatility on those puts are so cheap because everyone's still buying calls. You know, so you could get those puts really cheap and then you make a ton of money on the downside in that breakdown momentum cycle. So absolutely. That's what I was talking about yesterday. You know, like when you see that sector rotation there, so when you see that sector rotation and you're seeing, you know, them getting out of the tech sector and maybe into healthcare, that's when you could buy some puts on the tech sector or, you know, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, whatever it is you want to do, right? BDM is breakdown momentum cycle. So we have a trade plan we teach at Breaking Chart Alerts there, Chris. So with our trade plan, we have very specific entries, exits, and phases within our trade plan, like consolidation, which is our no trade zone. We teach very good technicals at Breaking Chart Alerts, you know, exactly what we're looking for. So like I said, when you're in that BDM, that breakdown momentum cycle, that's when we could be taking advantage of puts on those tech sectors or individual stocks that we see having a larger pullback. You know, if we said Facebook or, you know, Amazon, Twitter, whatever one it is we want to focus on, we could get puts on that while buying calls on the healthcare sector. So you see how we could be making money, two different strategies in the same market conditions. And that's by taking advantage of sector rotations there. And if, you know, obviously if you're not trading for over a decade like I have been, you know, like it's going to be a little bit tough for you to look at those sector rotations and knowing what sectors they're getting into and what sectors are good for shorting or buying puts. But, you know, once you guys understand the trade plan and how everything works there, you could be saying, okay, now I'm going to be shorting that tech sector and buying calls on the healthcare sector, or, you know, shorting shares on tech and buying shares on energy sector, you know, or you could go with some of the defensive sector stocks. You know, there's so many different strategies you could use, but that's when you really look at the charts, analyze the option chains there, seeing where the implied volatility is, how much those option contracts are costing. Because, you know, when they're cheap, you know, while the market's still climbing, and you see those puts that are pretty damn cheap there for a couple of weeks out, and you see those technicals that are changing, that's when it's a really nice time to get into those puts and make a killing. And then you could be looking for those calls or buying shares on the new cycles that are forming on the sector rotation there. So now if you see the larger institutional funds, the hedge funds getting into energy sector or into the consumer staple sector, then that's when you could be transitioning and finding some stocks in those individual sectors that are prime and ready for a nice breakout there. Skyjack out of Apple for 75%. Must have got back into that. Oh, the 820s.
4,466 vehicles.
Kurt, did you get out of TLT for a profit there, or did you get out of TLT for a loss?
For Tesla, TSLA.
We got to take a look at Delta. AMC puts doing great, up 42% on those. Nice job, Jack Dottie there. Game plan with space is waiting for Branson to get into space there. Once we see Branson get into space, I mean, there's really two things that are going to happen. Either it's going to be a successful flight and the stock's going to climb because now he could take passengers into space and start bringing in revenue for his company. And that's obviously, if he doesn't have any money coming in right now from Virgin Galactic. So once he passes these tests from the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, and all these other, all these other government agencies that are holding him back here, once he gets this successful flight, he could start charging passengers, guys. So just think about it. When he's starting to charge passengers, now he's taking people up to space. What do you think that's going to do? Because that's going to be on the news every night. Every space launch that you see going into space, Virgin Galactic's going to get that publicity there on all the news outlets. And when they start talking about that stock, what do you think is going to happen? Herd mentality is going to start coming in and saying, wow, space is only $60 a share. I'm going to buy it. That's why you have to have that mentality of looking into the future and seeing what's going to happen with that stock if it's a successful flight. Now, that's why I said there's two outcomes. Either it's a great flight and, a lot of momentum comes behind it and you get a lot of buyers that come up, or he's going to blow up, die, and, space is going to pull back. Those are the two obvious things that are going to happen. So as long as the later doesn't happen, I think space is going to continue to climb and we're going to break above $100 a share within a few months. So that's definitely one I want to keep an eye on. I'm just waiting until after he gets, back from his July 11th mission. If that's a success, I'm going to be buying. I'm probably going to pick up about, I'll probably pick up about 1,000 shares of space and then to start selling some monthly covered calls against it. I'm debating what I want to do there. If either I want to do a longer term leap, maybe put in, $30,000 into some leaps that are going out for 2 years expo, or do I want to buy shares and then sell some covered calls against those shares? So that's what I'm debating now in my head while I'm just watching everything here. Leaps are options that expire longer than 9 months out. So if you're looking at an option and it's 7 months out or 8 months out till expo, that's considered a short-term option. If it's longer than 9 months out till expiration, it's considered a leap. TLT still taking off. What TLT trade do we have? I gotta see what's going on with that because obviously I'm gonna be pretty upset.
4621 shares up 69.
That had a big spike there. I mean, we sold what at 932, 934, somewhere around there, right? When she's around 147. So let's see what the heck it did there. What trade did we had? We had the let's see, order status, TLT. We got filled at $1.75 for the 150 calls. 150 August 20th Expo calls. We sold at $1.75. They're now at $2.24. Well, Apple's looking good. Microsoft's starting to take off again here, guys. Keep an eye on Microsoft. Square pulled back quite a bit there. Thoughts on Oracle, says James. Let's take a look at Oracle. Oracle's looking great there on it today. 1 minute, 6-month daily. That's looking great. 85 is that resistance. It breaks that 85. I think she should see $100. Oracle's ready for a breakout. I'm watching Microsoft because if Microsoft really starts to break above that 280, I'm definitely going to be looking for a swing trade on Microsoft. Hold on one sec, guys. Alrighty, guys. Sorry about that there.
645 now, and to 702. She's zooming up about 3% now. JWDL.
That coffee goes right through you in the morning. All right, let's take a look, see what's moving here. We got TLT still on the climb there, guys. Take a look at TLT. Look at TLT still breaking out there. I should have held that to that target of that 150 I was talking about there. That was a nice breakout. Let's see, what do we have there for Dr. Gutman? What's going on there, buddy? I think it's time for you to make a trip out here. Let's have a boys' night out. Let's see, TLT, what the hell did I have here? The August 20th, I had the 150. She's still going for 244. We sold that for 175. 2.44, divide that by 1.75. We missed out on an extra 40% gain on that TLT trade there, which was nuts. That had a huge climb there. Wasn't expecting that big of a climb there again. But that's looking pretty good there. I mean, look at that 6-month daily chart on TLT. I mean, you could see she's got clear sailing. You got 150 as a short-term resistance, but really clear sailing up to that 155, maybe even up to that 170. 155 to 170. Remember, you know, as we near, and so this is what I want to talk to you guys about. Here's another great little lesson for you guys. As we're nearing the peak of that economic cycle, remember we were going over this yesterday here, and I love having these to go back and share with you guys and give you guys a good little lesson here. Let's see. Let me bring this up. So you guys remember this now. Here is the business cycle of the economy. We have 6 business cycles, right? You guys remember that? So we have 6 business cycles. Now, what does that mean? So when we near the peak, okay, that's when people are going to be selling stocks. So between this right here, that is the area when people are selling stocks. Now, what are they buying? From the peak down to the depression here, that's when they're going to start buying T-bonds. That's when they're going to start buying T-notes. And that's when they're going to be buying T-bills. So anything that starts with a T, that's coming from the federal government, the Treasury. Okay, so when you're at that peak to recession, that's when you're going to start seeing those, you know, more institutional funds, those larger, you know, 401k managers. What they're going to be doing is they're going to start selling those stocks, you know, because we're at the peak. They don't obviously want to hold on to those during a recession, depression, all the way down to the bottom there. So what they do is they start putting their money in safer alternatives. What are those safer alternatives? Well, it could be the T-notes, T-bonds that get anywhere from 3 to 6% for the year. Instead of being from a peak to a trough, you know, where you lose, you know, 30, 40% there, you know, they put their money in safer things like T-bonds, T-notes, and T-bills. So that's why you're seeing that. And guys, this is really good lessons for you guys to think about. Think about it. You know, so when you're seeing that here and you're seeing TLT, this is a 20-year Treasury bond ETF. You're seeing that take off from 135 almost to 150 now. Well, guess what's going to happen? That's going to continue to climb here, especially as they start raising interest rates. So for the next 2 years, if you guys want to find a good, solid, longer-term trade here, a TLT leap here would be amazing. You know, and I might do something like that, you know, pick up 25 grand into something like that. So if you take a look at TLT, you have to understand the business cycles of the economy. What's going on in the world? What's going on with politics? You know, most importantly, what's going on with the economy in the world? So as they start to raise interest rates, people are going to start buying into the bonds, because now they're starting to get a larger return because interest rates are going higher. If you're getting higher interest rates on T-bonds, T-notes, and T-bills, Well, guess what? If you're near the peak of the economic cycle and you're worried about a big pullback or a recession starting over the next few months or even the next year, they're going to start repositioning their portfolios now and start getting into those ETFs or those T-bonds, T-notes, and T-bills. So if you wanted to take a look at TLT here and you wanted to go out a little bit further, you could look at that January 2023 Expo, 2 years out till Expo. That 149, even that 150 there, let's make it simple there. That 150 is going for about 10 bucks. 160 break even, 170 you have 100% return. So if it gets up to 170 here, you have a 100% return in the next 2 years. That's a safe alternative, because if it does pull back here, if we take a look at this option chain, right click and click on columns, and we add theta over here, let's add delta and theta and just see what's going on. We add delta, we add theta, we look at that option chain now. Now if you look at that 150 strike call for January 2023 Expo, that's 2 years, a year and a half till Expo. That 150 strike, it's going to lose 1 penny per day. So if it's at a $10.70, that means tomorrow, if she's still at 148.33, instead of being worth $10.70, it'll be worth $10.69. That's time decay. It's 1 penny per day taken away, and then you got your theta there, or I'm sorry, your delta of 0.496, which is beautiful. You're always looking for about a 0.5 delta, on those longer term trades there. So 0.5 delta, that means if we get up to 170, let's say we get up to 170 by the end of this year, right? If we get up to 170 by the end of this year, that's what, a 40 or a 22 point climb. So 22, multiply that by a delta of 0.496, that means this is going to increase by $10.91. So if you're paying $10.70 for it, $10.91 plus 10.7, that means this contract's going to be worth at least $21.61 minus theta, which is your time decay. So if it takes a month, you times your theta by 30 days, and that's your time decay. If it takes the next 6 months, 6 months times that by 30, times that by your penny theta, and that's your time decay. So if it's worth 21.61, divide that by 10.7, that's a 102% gain there if she gets up to 170 by the end of this year. So that's not a bad setup there if you wanted to look for a larger trade. That's a little bit safer of a trade, and look for that longer term expo there, which that is a really nice setup. I like that. So that's definitely something to be looking for. Let's see here. Where is... There we go. Deanna's with us now. Deanna, did you end up locking in those profits on Apple? And I'm not sure if you had TLT. Did you lock in those profits on TLT? Muhammad says, could you check Peloton? It's climbing every day. Muhammad, I don't like Peloton. They got class action lawsuits all over them, and especially with the pandemic ending, I really don't like Peloton, and I don't want to encourage anyone to. I mean, the 1020 cross there looks nice for sure, the MACD cross, but you got some resistance at 126 right there on a today 1 minute chart. I mean, if you're looking for a day trade, if it breaks that 126, you could look for a little run there. But as far as the 6 month daily chart goes here, I mean, that 130 has been acting as some resistance, and you got a little bit more at 140. Me personally, like I said, they got a lot of lawsuits with toddlers and little kids that died getting sucked up in their treadmills. And, so I'm not going to go anywhere near that. They got a lot of liability issues coming their way with class action lawsuits. So me personally, staying away from Peloton. I mean, if you wanted to trade it, I would trade small. Let's see, what else do we have moving here? Let me look at my iMac here. Nice, Deanna. I just got your message there. Made over $1,000 on the Apple trade. Nice job. Was that the most recent one, or was that like your third one? Because I think you made a few Apple trades with us, right? I think we did 3 Apple trades. Josh Ellsworth, are you with us? I know you were in Apple. I know you couldn't sell Apple, otherwise they were going to give you categorize you as a pattern day trader. So, what'd you make on that Apple trade there, Josh? All right, let's take a look at the watch list on the Trade Challenge account here. Well, Walmart's climbing nicely. You guys take a look at Walmart, WMT. WMT. That is getting a nice little crossover there on a 6-month daily chart, breaking above that 140 resistance. 142.50 is going to be that next resistance. If it could break that, you could be looking at that 150. So with that being said, today 1 minute, I mean, she's just breaking out nonstop all day today, Walmart. That's nice because Walmart's one of those, more institutional funds. It's a blue chip stock there, so the option premiums on that are dirt cheap. So that's another one like that Apple. You could pick up some contracts for 80 cents, and if she continues that climb there, you could have an easy 100, 200% gain. So if you're looking for a short-term trade on Walmart here, I'd be buying up some July 16th calls going for Walmart there and looking for that 143 target. That's not a bad setup there. I like that on Walmart. Josh Ellsworth said yes, he locked in a 71% gain on what was it, the second or third Apple trade? I'm not sure. We do so many trades. I don't even remember what I traded yesterday, to be honest with you. I know we closed out a few. Let's see. Let me look at this watch list here. Amazon's still breaking higher there. Walmart is looking really good. I mean, look at that today, 1 minute. I'm looking at that on the iMac here, and it's still breaking out nicely. Walmart's getting a nice breakout. That's a nice setup, guys, if you're looking for a short-term swing trade for that July 16th expo. If you're looking for a trade on Walmart, this is what I'd be looking at here. I'd be looking at that Walmart. I'd say the July 16th, that's next week. I mean, look at those 140s. The 141s are going for $1.39. That is dirt cheap. Josh, what do I think about long-term AMC calls? I think if you're watching Wall Street Bets there, you're going to be, throwing your money away. AMC, I mean, yes, other movie theaters are open, but you have to look at this. First off, AMC, even pre-pandemic here, they were struggling pretty bad. So you look at that 3-month daily chart here. I mean, even back in 2018 when we had a incredible economy, the stock was at $20. Now they also reissued more shares of AMC. So the shares are now diluted. So there's more shares. That means there's more on the open market than there is demand for the shares. So you're seeing a pullback there. So me personally, I'd be getting the hell out of AMC, locking in that profit if you were in it anywhere, early on. I don't think it has, I don't think it has much to go higher. I really don't. I mean, if you get a lot of buyers, if you get one of those Wall Street bettors that are pumping it up, just to make a profit to themselves and then sell it, and then alert their crowd there, I mean, that's just a simple pump and dump Ponzi scheme there. So I certainly wouldn't be chasing after AMC. Especially if there's, if they start pumping it now saying, hey, buy AMC here, that's probably the people that got in at $60 and trying to get more people to buy it so the stock climbs as the demand climbs there. So, I would just be out of that. Now, if you're shorting it, now's a nice time to buy some puts because look at what you got on a daily chart here. You got that 10 crossing below that 20. The MACD already crossed below over here. And you got your first red candles below that 10, 20-day simple moving average, which you could be looking for support now at about $35 a share, which is a 10-point climb from 45 down to 35, which if you look at the options and multiply that by your delta on that. So if you look at AMC, for example. My mouse just fell on the floor and broke. that's for the iMac. Okay, so if we take a look, what was I just talking about there? AMC. So if we take a look at AMC here, and you're looking at that July 16th expo, or let's say the June 9th, because if she pulls back, she's going to pull back quick there. So if you're looking at that July 9th expo and you're saying, okay, you think that's going to pull back down to that $35, okay, well, that means if you pick up that 45 strike put here, right, if you pick up that 45 strike put, it's theoretically going for $2.62 a contract, or $262 per contract, and your break even now on the put side is your strike price minus what you paid. So on that 45 strike, it's now 266. So 45 minus 2.66, that brings your break even down to 42.34. Now minus another 2.66. So at 39.68, you have a 100% return. So just think, okay, if she drops down to about $40, you have a 100% return. Now if she drops down to that 35, that 45 is now going to be worth $10. So it's at 271 right now. So if it's worth $10 and it drops down to that 35, obviously $10 divide that by its 266 now. 10 divide that by 2.66. That's an incredible 276% return if you got into those AMC 45 strike puts on AMC and she drops down to $35 a share. So that's how you could calculate that using your delta, using your theta, using your Greeks, and then you could take in your time decay. So if it has a theta here on that 45 that's a big theta there of 69 cents per day, it's going to lose in value there. So that's big time decay right there. That tells you that implied volatility is big on AMC, and that theta is what's causing, those premiums there to be so expensive with that implied volatility increasing there. So, you're losing 70 cents or $70 a day in AMC just from time decay. All right. I hope that helped. Sorry, when I get into things, Josh, I go into sometimes a little too deep there. But hopefully it helps you understand the reasoning behind everything. Dream Big says, Dave, what's your settings on your chart? So I use, so watch this here. What's your name, Dream Big? I don't like when people use fake names in the trade room. Damien, I remember you just signed up yesterday. Welcome aboard. So Damien, so here we go. So here's a perfect little thing. So let's get rid of these SMAs over here. I'll do it quickly with you. So if we're looking at a 3, let's get AMC the heck out of there. Let's take a look at something different here, like let's take a look at Apple. So Apple here, what we're going to do, we're going to go up to our studies. We're going to go to our moving average up here. 50-day always comes up red on eTrade Pro, so I leave that as red. That's more of an institutional moving average anyway there, the 50 and the 200. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back up to studies. I'm going to click on moving average again. Now I'm going to change the time period here to 10-day, and my 10-day simple moving average I always put as yellow. Okay, because that, when you get a shift on that, that's like caution, you're switching into a different cycle here possibly. Because notice how the candles here in breakdown momentum, they're getting up to that 10 and failing, up to that 10 and failing. Well, now when you start consolidating side by side here, failing to break above that 127.50 resistance and failing to break below that 122.50 support there, and you're just consolidating, now you're having a shift. This is considered our NTZ, or consolidation area of our trade plan. And now once you get those candles that are above that 10 and then break above that resistance, right here is your optimal entry. So I already know my trade plan, so I could already tell you when I put the rest of the simple moving averages up, right here, this candle right here breaking through this resistance is going to be your buy candle. So now when I go back to studies over here, I'm going to do one last time, go over there, I'm going to put in a 20-day simple moving average, and for that 20-day simple moving average, I use that as aqua blue. Okay, now with our trade plan, once we get that 10-20 crossover here, that's showing us signs of momentum shifting, right? Now, once we get our first green candle above 102050 SMA, or a 1020 SMA here on the initial cycle, that's going to be our entry. So there's a 1020 cross, next candle. Now you're also looking for that third check mark, which is the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence crossover, along with green bars above the zero line on the histogram of the MACD down here. So right here, as you guys can see, what we got here going on is we got the MACD, we got the first green bars above the zero line. Here's the zero line right here, and this is the histogram, right? So here's the histogram of the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence. So when we get those first green bars above the zero line, when they're below that zero line, that's showing you signs of a breakdown there. So you obviously don't want to be buying calls when you got bars below the zero line of the histogram of the MACD. Okay, so now we got that shift happening. We got those first green bars above the zero line on the histogram of the MACD. We already had the MACD crossing above the signal line here of the chart down here below. So there's the crossover right there. And then we got the 1020 cross. So there's check mark, and then green candle above the 10-20-day simple moving average. This right here is your check mark, and that candle right there is confirmed entry. Now, when you get that first signal, so see how here we had the 10 crossing below that 20. This all here is the breakdown momentum. This is that area where you're buying puts and profiting as the stock drops lower. Okay, so once you understand the trade plan and everything, how we do things, especially once you join our service and you go to over here. Let me get rid of that. And once you go over here to the education and you see classes here, I have classes that are really great over here, Damien. I know you're new with us. So if you're a beginner, totally new to options, and you have no idea what the heck a collar or put is, obviously start at the beginners down below here, go up and around. And once you understand all that stuff, obviously ask us questions in the trade room. That's why we're there between the hours of 11 to when we go live, 2:30 or 3 there. So during those hours, ask questions there. Ephraim's in the trade room there. I'm there, so we could help you out there if you have any questions between the beginners. And then once you get there, then go to the intermediate. This is going to tell us more about some of the indicators that we use, what we're doing here, finding the right strike prices, expo dates, the entries, how vertical spreads work, because usually we do vertical spreads as our paycheck trades. Here's the 3 main types of patterns that we like to trade there, how to find trades and setups. And once you go there, you could go to experienced traders. This is more about covered calls on larger accounts there, how to hedge your trades if you got some longer term calls and you see a short term pullback coming there fueled by a catalyst in the market that's only going to last for a short period of time. You could hedge that portfolio with some puts. There's so many different strategies. That's a great class. I go over all that type of stuff there. How to manage risk when trading options. That's really important. The psychology, mentality, and managing risk there. So I go over that a bit there. Straddles there when you're not sure what the market's going to be doing. It's going to have a big move, but you're not sure which way that straddle. And then obviously when we're at that peak of the economy heading into that recession or, the depression, this is what you want to be focusing in on, is those safe haven stocks there. That's going to be your consumer staples and whatnot, and we go over exactly what to be looking for there. But what was I getting back at there? He was asking about the chart setups. Yeah, so so that's how you set up your charts there. That's how you're able to find out. Once you get that initial crossover from a new cycle, this is breakdown momentum back here. Once you got that new cycle forming here, that's when you want to find something 3 to 6 months out till Expo and ride that up to that, usually we go over targets R1, R2, R3, and R4, so that's when you're looking for your R3, your R4s, your resistant target profit area number 3 and number 4, and we always draw those out on the charts here. So mentally, all you got to be doing is following that trade plan, looking for those entries, being disciplined, and like I said, really important is keeping up to date with what's going on with the economy. If you guys see what's going on, you start looking at your sectors, you're looking at your volume, you're seeing where those where those transitions are coming in and when you could expect those sector rotations starting to happen there. That's when you start to shift and reposition your portfolios from maybe tech to those, consumer staples and your defensive stocks. So it's really important to have your pulse on the economy. And, one of our members said that perfectly, actually, in one of the video interviews or video reviews they did for us on YouTube. He said Dave always has a pulse on the economy there. And, like you hear what we have. We got Bloomberg Terminal, we have Thomson Reuters, we got Benzinga Pro. All this news information is, almost $10,000 a month here. So when you're able to see all that, that's how the news gets their news. So when you're able to see that and see what exactly is going on, you could kind of see what's happening and what you should be looking at for the future. Because think of this. Think of the people that get the Wall Street Journal, okay? You got to think of the process here from A to Z, okay? The first people that make the most money are the people that have Bloomberg Terminal, Thomson Reuters, Live Newswire, because they're able to hear the news first before it's anywhere else. And that's why it's so damn expensive. That's why it's $26,000 a year just for Bloomberg Terminal. So think about all of the freaking traders, advisors out there have it because, you're up to date and you know exactly what's going on. So think about when you're able to watch us, look and hear, listen to everything here, take advantage of that. And then the next day when it's in the Wall Street Journal, or the 2 days later when it's in the Wall Street Journal, think about those people, those older people there, or those retail traders that don't have the funds or don't have access to breaking news like we do. Well, guess what? They're just reading about it now in the Wall Street Journal. So when they're reading about it in the Wall Street Journal, then that group of people, because remember, the market's all about supply and demand. So the more people that are in demand of that stock, it's going to continue to climb. So now when the Wall Street Journal comes out, people start reading that. You get those group, they have, 50,000 people or more that get the Wall Street Journal. I don't know how many. I'm sure they probably get more than that, but all those people that start to see that news that we heard about first on the Newswire, now they start buying. And then when it's posted on these other websites that, people watch and look at, a few days later it continues that climb. That's why that breakout momentum cycle is so important, especially when it's catalyst driven. When it's catalyst driven based on economic numbers or something that's going on with the economy, or, the fundamentals have changed in a company, that's a great time to be jumping in there because that momentum and that catalyst is going to continue as you go from A to Z of the outlet where that media is being put out and pushed out as an outlet there. So it starts with the Newswire from Bloomberg, Thomson Reuters, then it trickles down to Benzinga Pro, then it trickles down to your, CNBC, then it trickles down to websites, then the Wall Street Journal, then your monthly publications like Stock and Options or Stock and Commodities magazine that I get here. So it progresses. It goes down that supply chain. So as more and more news gets distributed about it, then more people start buying. So that supply is the same, but now the demand's increased because now it seems like on a daily basis you got a website, you got something pushing out that information that's causing more buyers to come in and buy that stock. So that's what's really important there to understand. And I hope that helps you guys because that's really good, valuable information there. When you get that catalyst, keep that in mind. So I've been watching Microsoft on the other chart here. That's still failing to break above that 280. I told you guys if Microsoft broke above that 280, I'd be jumping in. But like I said, the reason why we got mostly all cash on the sidelines here is because we had a hell of a run up here. I don't want to see us have that big run up, get into our fourth or fifth tech trade here, and then have that big pullback and then have that big loss. Protect profits. Wait for that next good setup now, and that's when we're really going to have that next big climb in the account. I'm watching Facebook here. Facebook's getting a little climb. It's holding that 352 support. I'm watching that. I'm also watching Apple here. If Apple starts to take off, I might do a day trade on Apple. It's Thursday, so, it's prime to do some day trading today and tomorrow. So, that's what I'm going to be looking for there. But It's after 11 here and decided to stay on a little bit longer, so I'm gonna head off of here for now, guys. Great job locking in that Apple trade today. TLT, those of you guys that held out for a few more minutes there, you had some really big gains on TLT, so congratulations on that. And guys, we're continuing to kick some butt in the market here, so let's keep that going. I love doing what we're doing here. You know, working together as a team. We're going over some strategies here. We're going over some daily lessons during our live streams. Let's keep that going. I got a lot of energy, got well rested, and I feel great. So let's keep this momentum going forward here, and let's continue to capitalize on these profits here. So great job today, guys. Have a good afternoon here, and I will see you guys in the afternoon session. The afternoon session, Damien, it starts anywhere between 2:30 and 3. If the markets are flat and not doing much, it'll be closer to 3. You know, if it's, if we see some activity, we'll jump in at 2:30 to start looking for some day trades there. So we'll see. Usually Wall Street goes on lunch right now, and they could be on there for an hour. They could be gone for 2 hours. So we'll see what happens. When we start seeing some volume and some movement come in, we'll send out the app alert that we're live. And those of you that are pro members could join us by going on the link here at the website and going up to afternoon live session. When you click on afternoon live session, it's going to give you if you scroll down more, it's going to give you the password for the afternoon, and you guys could click on that link and follow that. And then if you guys are in the trade room daily, I mean, the morning live session right here for Zoom, afternoon live session on Zoom, and then our classes here to sign up for those. That way you get the email and text notification when class is starting. It's right there. So everything's set up beautifully for you guys. So if you want to come join us, go to Join Now membership pricing plans. We got a special on our Elite Pro Trader, guys. If you guys have been locking in some profits with us on YouTube, come and join. Elite Pro Trader, you can use promo code CHALLENGE. That's going to save you 30% off the yearly. So the trader membership, it's $125 a month. You only get access to the morning session and the trade room. Pro Trader, you get access to the morning session, the afternoon session, and text alerts. Elite Pro Trader, you get all the education tab there. You get the classes, and then you get 2 one-on-ones as well. So Elite Pro Trader, you get all that. You get the text, app alerts, morning session, afternoon session. And if you use promo code CHALLENGE and click sign up there, it brings it down to $1,750. So $1,750, divide that by 12, it comes out to $145 a month for that Elite Pro Trader there, which is just about the same price as the Trader. So you got a big savings there on the Elite Pro Trader. If you use promo code CHALLENGE, just go to breakingchartalerts.com, click sign up, come join us. If you guys want to check out what we do, how we work, go right here, check out these short videos, and you guys can sign up and join us in the live trade room then once you guys get signed up. Education tab, trade challenge tab is just for trade challenge trades. Trade alerts here are all the trades. Alrighty, guys, I will see you guys in the afternoon, and if you're a pro member or an Elite Pro member, I'll see you guys in the afternoon. Take care, guys. Have a great day, and I will see you guys shortly. We'll be in the trade room for now. Take care.